Just a quick update video to let you know how the paint held up on the exhaust mufflers and heat shields. I know in the initial video I only painted the mufflers, but I did go back and paint the heat shields because I wanted to match, and had an interesting find when I pulled the heat shields off. I had to remove the right rider footboard to get the heat shield out. And in between the footboard and the frame, I found a wire smashed up in between there, and the outer coating of that wire, heat protective coating or whatever it is, was completely destroyed. So the wire itself wasn't showing, and it wasn't shorting. It wasn't causing any issues. There were no lights, no check engine lights, anything like that on the dash. So I haven't done anything about it. If you want to check that video out, I'll put a link in the description, and you can go check that out to see what that is. Just in case you have some kind of phantom electrical issues, something like that might be the cause. I don't know how you'd ever figure out that problem unless you're taking everything apart, but you know how it goes. Stuff happens. But anyway, back to the paint. I originally used this paint right here. Rust-Oleum engine enamel, ceramic coating up to 600 degrees. So, and it worked great, satin black. It worked really good. The mufflers, as you can see, I don't know if you can see how well you can see that. They held up really good. The color actually looked a lot like what maybe the original Reinhardt coloring was, but at the time they didn't match the heat shield. So later on I pulled the heat shields off and painted them to match. Well, the heat shields, they didn't hold up as good as the mufflers did. And I don't know how hot those get, how hot the heat shields get, but they must get 600 degrees because they're starting to show a little bit of stress in the paint. And I'll show you, if we can see it from the camera, I'll show you. I'm not sure if you can see that, where you see where it's a little bit hazy there at the top, where the rest of it's kind of satiny like it's supposed to be. It's hazy there at the top, so I'm sure that's from heat. You know, it's just breaking down that paint from the heat. So I'm not sure that this paint's going to be perfect for this, because I obviously don't want it to look like that. I want it to look like the rest of this down here. And another thing that I noticed was, I don't know if you can see it, but there's water spots on that paint. And those water spots are kind of like baked in there. And when I first did the video about painting these mufflers and heat shields, I stated that can said you have to let it cure for 7 days. You have to let it dry for 7 days. I didn't do that. And I said I'm an impatient person, so I let it dry for 24 hours, and then I took it out and wrote it, and then everything seemed fine. I didn't see any smoke, didn't smell any burning, so I left it at that. Well, now I've got these water spots that won't come off, and I have that stressed looking area up on the top of the heat shield, so I'm assuming that I just didn't let it cure long enough. At least that's what I'm hoping. I haven't ruled against the paint completely yet, because like I said, I didn't follow the directions. So if you decide to try this paint, maybe if you do the 7-day cure like you're supposed to, you won't have that problem like I do. And you know, like I said, I let it go 24 hours, and that was that. A couple days after finishing the painting, I got stuck in a rainstorm, and I'm just not sure if maybe because the paint wasn't cured all the way, and then it got super hot, you know, obviously it got hot from riding it, and then get the rain on it and the dirt and stuff from the road, just kind of baked itself on there. Kind of like when you put new pipes on, you're supposed to make sure you wipe all the oil off. So I'm just wondering if maybe the paint just wasn't cured enough, and that's what's causing that issue. But anyway, I think for the long run, I'm going to leave it on there for now, but I think maybe I'm going to take it down to Savannah powder coat, and I'm just going to see if they can just powder coat those for me and make it you know, perfect the way I want it, and leave it, and hopefully no issues with heat anymore, and it'll look the way I want it to look, and that'll be that. So just want to let you guys know that the paint did what it was supposed to do. It didn't really hold up well, that I can tell. The mufflers are perfectly fine, but for the heat shields, it didn't hold up well. And like I said, I kind of blame myself, and I'm not sure. I'm not going to try it again to verify that or to test that to see if that's true. I'm just going to assume that it was my fault because I didn't let it cure long enough. So I would say the paint is a pass, but you know, I would assume that getting those things powder coated is not going to be that expensive. So I should have just done that from the start. Anyway, I will let you know what that looks like and how all that comes out when I'm done with it. I appreciate you stopping by. I want to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed to the channel and those that come back and leave me comments and things. It really helps YouTube find my videos and get us out there. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so, and take care, and I'll see you on the next one.